Welcome to the Cutting Edge Convention, a worldwide movement to revolutionize your life. No more stumbling around in the dark, wasting precious weeks, months, and years trying to figure it out on your own. Get ready for valuable innovations and strategies. And now, here's your host, Marcy Peters, the Age Backward Mentor.
Hello and welcome to the Cutting Edge Convention, innovations to revolutionize your life. I'm Marcy Peters, the Age Backward Mentor. I help smart, successful men and women step into a life they love and a body they love being in and avoid traditional aging because there's a better way to age backward. Today we're talking about how to use your intuition to heal, how to get a hold of the power of your intuition. And this is really amazing work. And today we're talking with Elle. She's an intuitive healer. And let me tell you a little bit more about her. Elle is an intuitive healer and coach and soul guide who helps entrepreneurs, and you don't have to be an entrepreneur, connect to their inner wisdom and intuition to lead a thriving life. Through intuitive and healing work, she guides clients to their soul's true essence, thus creating transformation. Dawn, welcome.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you here. And one of the main reasons I asked you is because I know you have this incredible source of information. And the reason I know is because you've been my personal healer and intuitive and friend for about 6 years, so quite a while. And I have gained so much from working with you. It's just incredible what you're able to provide. And, you know, you just stun me again and again and again. So I know the power of this work. So let's start, Dawn, with having you tell everyone, how did you get involved? I mean, to go from the corporate world to becoming an intuitive healer to stepping into that and really making a difference in people's lives. How did that transition occur?
Thank you for that introduction. Well, basically, yeah, I was in the corporate world. I was a pharmaceutical rep. And at that time in my life, it was about 10 years ago, I felt like I had everything going for me. If you looked, on a piece of paper, if I had all my credentials of my life kind of written out, everything seemed to be flowing. I was making the kind of money I wanted to make. I had my dream job. I was married. Everything seemed really good, but I was extremely sick. And I kept having migraines and my stomach was always having problems. And I just thought maybe that was normal. And I kept dismissing it. And so finally, kind of what woke me up is I went to see a doctor, and she really helped me see things differently. And the way she did that was, instead of just prescribing me a medication, she asked me, what's going on in your life? What's happening to you? What is the root of where all these migraines or stress is coming from? And she forced me to be reflective. And at that time, being in pharmaceutical sales, I was just so stressed out and so busy all the time that I didn't really see that as a priority, I guess you could say. And so with reflection, I realized that my pain was my intuition trying to speak to me. I had all of these things that I had been kind of stuffing down, if you will, all these feelings, anxiety about my work, and just, where I was at with everything at that time. And so that kind of was the door opener into my journey of learning about my intuition. Although I had always been drawn to it my whole life, I had really kind of led a life where, I went to school, and, high school, I was groomed to go to college. After college, I was groomed into going right into the corporate world. I never was really listening to myself. And so I followed this path, and I have no complaints about it, but I followed this path of what I should be doing. And the whole thing that was uncovered at that point was, what should I, what am I feeling, and what is important to me? And by going through that process of speaking to that doctor, it really uncovered, like I said, that I had all these things that I've been dismissing. And I really feel like our feelings are the gateway into our intuition.
Thank you. Yeah. And so this is something I'm sure a lot of you can relate to, which is to be out of touch or disassociated with your body, with your feelings, even with what you want in life, and to do what you think you should do, what's expected of you, to take a certain path without questioning it. And then at a certain point to say, this isn't the life that I want to be leading, and to course correct. So once you realized that that wasn't working for you, what did you do?
So after lots of introspection, and we're talking about a few years of really delving into some personal development work and introducing myself to meditation. Meditation really changed my life. Since I had always been studying intuition, I actually was taking a course on, it was an 18-month course on just learning about energy and how to ground yourself and intuition. After that, while I was still a pharmaceutical rep, I decided that I was just going to start doing readings for fun. And like anybody that starts their own business, there's such a journey with doing it. And so when I stepped into doing it for fun, I was really just following my heart. I was listening to the energy. It felt good to me and it was exciting. And so I started just with a really small on the side business of doing that. And then as I did it for a few years, I felt the calling grow. And with trusting myself, because I think that's a huge key to intuition, trusting ourselves and really allowing ourselves to show up with our gifts. I started to uncover even deeper realms with my work, and even learning better ways to go about it and all that kind of stuff. So literally it unfolded as I was opening up more to my intuition and trusting. And then I decided to go full time with it.
That's amazing. And also it's a blueprint to, those of you who are wanting to start to explore your own gifts and talents, to be able to do that. And what I remember about first working with you, Dawn, is that you kind of blew my mind, with the information and still, but at the very beginning, I was on my journey too, and I didn't really totally believe in that stuff. I kind of did, but it's not that I didn't believe in intuition, but you have actual information that you're given that comes through you, and I'll let you speak more to that. That is, even beyond that. And so it was just like, wow, this is incredible. So Dawn, when you're starting to work with someone, how do you get started with them initially?
Okay, so I have a process that I've used and it really helps me. But when I'm working with people, it's really about opening myself up to source energy. And you could call it the universe, the divine, but I really consider myself to be a channel. And I think we all are. And I think whether you want to use your intuition just in your day-to-day life, or you actually want to use it in your business, it's really about being clear and really working with your energy and allowing yourself to see who you really are. Because the problem with energy is if you are kind of dismissing, like I explained in the beginning with what I was doing with myself at that time in my life, you wind up having a lot of resistance towards things and creating illness and not living optimally. So as a channel, one of the things I've really had to work on is mastering my energy and being very clear with it so that I can receive information from my clients. And so when I work with people, it's amazing because I sit across from them, I close my eyes, and there's just this whole world that opens up to me. And I see colors and I get information, I see symbols, I mean, you name it, I see it. And intuition works in different ways where you can see, you can hear, you can feel, and you can know. And so I have developed, all of those characteristics. And that's something that when I work with entrepreneurs, I really love to help them learn, like, what is their superpower? Like, how are they tuning into their intuition? But anyways, when I work with clients, I am channeling what's for their best and highest good, what source wants to share with them on their path to help them navigate their journey and show up and be their best. And so it's amazing because I see soul lessons, soul themes, and I dive into whatever it is that they really want to connect to for themselves.
So amazing. Yeah, so let's talk about, you mentioned energy and how important that is. Let's talk about what is energy and how to cultivate that.
Yes, I love it. So it's my favorite subject. Energy, so we all are energy. Everything in the universe is made up of energy. Even like this desk in front of me is vibrating. So we all have a vibration and we all have our own personal frequency. And our energy is made up of our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs. And so a really good way to explain energy to somebody if they're not really familiar with it is I love using like low vibe or high vibe. So if you have low vibration energy, you in your physical body, you may just feel a little bit sluggish. You feel kind of restricted. You're not, you're just not feeling very excited about what's going on. So you can really, it's low vibration energy. You can feel it. So it's actually like thinking lower type of thoughts where you're more in a negative state. You're not feeling good about things, maybe judging things. And if you're in a high vibrational energy, it feels light and it feels expansive and it feels good. And you can tell because when if somebody shoots an idea across to you about something in your life and you are speaking to them, you might feel it in your stomach. Like you might feel like some sense of joy or butterflies or excitement, that expansion. Low vibration energy is that tightness. Like we've all felt that fear when we're walking into a situation that we're uncomfortable with. We have to have a confrontation with somebody and we kind of feel that tightness in our stomach. That's kind of a lower, it's also a guidance, but it's a lower type of vibrational energy. And where energy comes into play, where it's really important is if you have low vibrational energy, since it's your beliefs, your feelings, and your thoughts, if you keep staying in that state, okay, if that's your dominant state, what it's going to cause is some health issues and dis-ease. And that's when it gets kind of tricky because people tend to think if they go to see a doctor that if they're sick, it's just, okay, I'm sick because I didn't take this medicine or I'm not eating healthy. That might be part of it, but it also has to do with your energy and the way that you're thinking about things. So it's all very connected. The mind and body connection is huge.
Yeah, this is so true. And this was part of my journey too, because for a long time I was in denial about the role of my emotional and my spiritual health that was having on my physical health, and how it all is all intertwined, whether one comes first and then the other, chicken or the egg, and just insisting, no, it's just physical, like this needs to be addressed, whether it's an infection or whatever. And actually, there is always an emotional component to chronic illness. So that's important to consider. Now, how do you coach people, or how do you work with people, and how can our listeners start to change their vibration? Let's say they identify that they're in the lower vibration and they want to, of course, be more happy and joyful. What are some ways to do that?
I love that question. So I always say in order to heal, we must feel. So healing requires feeling. And we are taught for whatever reason in the society to go, to just kind of keep up with things. Being busy is, some people look upon that very highly. And yeah, being busy is great because maybe people think it equals being productive. But really, in order to shift, we need to be quiet. That's the first thing I always coach people to do. You have to find time to listen to your soul. It's very subtle in the way it speaks to us. And if you're going and you have a million things on your plate, it's going to be hard for you to listen to it. And so by listening to yourself and giving yourself that time, then you can start to really kind of tune in with your physical body. That's a great place to start. It's like, okay, when you sit to meditate, what am I feeling? You can kind of take a few deep breaths and really get into a state of relaxation, and then tune into your physical. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? And then it may just come across like, I'm a little bit stressed. And then you it's almost like following, connecting the dots. It's like, okay, I'm feeling stressed. What am I stressed about? Where is that coming from? What's the source of that? And really in the work I do, there's kind of, if you think about it, like, I always say, like, if you think of a pool, there's like the deep end of the pool and there's the shallow end of the pool. And if you go on the shallow end, it might just be like, I'm stressed today because my job is, I'm not making my numbers or something's going on, And that could be the more shallow type of energy, but there's a deeper component to everything, right? When it comes to looking at what's really the source of things. So not every single time that you are doing a meditation are you going to go there, but it's important to acknowledge the feeling, see where it's coming from, because that's how you start to shift. And one of the things I always coach people on is that sometimes we have feelings that we dismiss, and it might be something that we don't like about ourselves, or we look at the past and think, okay, I did that, I don't like the fact that I did that, that wasn't nice that I treated that person that way. But whatever it may be, it's really about learning to love ourselves and accept who we are, because intuition is about being whole, right? It's really, energy is about being whole. It's listening to your body and really accepting who you are on your emotional journey. Nobody is perfect and nobody's broken. And so if you come from a space of believing that we all are internally perfect from the soul essence, and really look at that and take that energy and just learn to accept it and love it and deal with all our feelings, then you can start to heal. Okay, that's the process of healing and really opening up to your intuition.
Yeah, thank you. So you mentioned a couple of really important points, which is to get still and quiet and tune in to yourself. It's easy to move into distraction and to avoid really that intimacy with yourself. And then the second thing is that self-acceptance and self-love piece, which is absolutely crucial to healing. And actually, without cultivating that part of it, it's not true healing, I believe.
So true. It's easy to like the nice parts of ourselves, the parts that we accept. It's the parts of ourselves that we have either shame or there's trauma that we have a more difficult and challenging time accepting. But that's the aspect of ourselves that really needs to be loved and seen.
Yes.
And seen so we can heal.
Yes. And what I've found is that by working with you, as a client, I get to accelerate that process. And it's not that, anyone can't create, those types of things for themselves. But what a coach does is to really help speed that along so that it takes less time and to reinforce, what you're learning and stick with it instead of regressing. And so that's a big part of, what we all get to learn on our journey is, what are the tools and resources that are helpful. And I find that, it's really been helpful for me. Let's talk about, you do not just intuitive work, and you're able to actually tell people specifics about, certain circumstances or situations, but there's also a healing side to that. Can you speak on that?
So healing is my favorite part. I feel like that's where the magic is, because healing is what really creates some monumental shifts. And like you were mentioning, it can accelerate someone's growth and really help them transition. So when I do healing work, I don't believe that there's one modality that's better than another. I really feel like it's up to the practitioner to come from a place of integrity. But the way I happen to do healing work is I'm very closely, when I work, I look very well with the chakras, and I can see where there's stuck energy, where there's resistance, and the resistance can come in as just thoughts that are holding somebody back, like self-sabotage. It could be physical issues that are manifesting from old trauma, stuck emotional energy that somebody has never dealt with. So all these things come up, and part of my gift is being able to see where and which chakra somebody is holding that energy. And so I am able to pinpoint that, bring it to their attention, work with it, and start clearing it. And so by clearing it, it's I want to say as a healer, it's not that I can just like magically clear it and it's never going to be an issue again. That's not how this works. Bringing it to someone's awareness helps, and then moving the energy which is what I'm facilitating helps as well. But then there's work that needs to be continued by the person that's being worked on, because it's important that if there is, let's say, a self-limiting thought that is identified, that when it comes up again, they don't go into the same pattern of action that they were doing before, that they have created some sort of shift in their mind that, okay, if that same fear comes up for me, I'm going to work through it. And so that's the goal. It's a co-creation process where we're really working together to create a difference. It's not just like, let me do all the work for you and you're fixed, you can go on your merry way. It doesn't work that way. But if the person is really participating in the process, the shifts that can take place, I've seen people heal from illness. I've seen people completely change their life, and it is amazing. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much, Dawn. Yeah, it's a powerful process for sure. I really, I don't usually say this, but I really want all of you who are here with us today to follow Dawn's work and perhaps, get a session with her, just to have that experience for yourself, even if it's only once, because that is so powerful. So the next thing I want to talk about is the subconscious. The subconscious is really a very important part of all this evolutionary stuff that we're talking about, the personal growth and development, as we're all evolving on the path. So Dawn, could you speak to the subconscious?
Yes, definitely. So we have our conscious mind and our subconscious. And just a quick reminder, if you guys aren't aware of how this works, but our conscious mind is everything that's rational, logical. It's how we're processing it analytically, all that stuff. The subconscious is kind of below our awareness, and it is the accumulation of every belief, thought, feeling we've ever had since we were born. Okay, so it contains a lot of information and energy and emotion. And basically, the subconscious is programmed. The subconscious is programmed between the ages of 0 to 7. And when you're around little kids, you can see their energy is very pure. Little kids cannot process and rationalize something that is traumatic that happens. And I want to say this too, because people get under the impression that something traumatic has to happen for them to have a subconscious belief that is negative. And subconscious beliefs can be as simple as not feeling like you were paid attention to when you were a little kid, and it just creates this belief. Or maybe your mom saying, hey, don't cry so much, stop crying, like, don't show that emotion, where you kind of develop this, you don't understand it, so you just get this feeling of like, I shouldn't act that way, I shouldn't behave that way. And the way programming really affects us is that it lives with us until we go in, see it, and have awareness. So one of the things I do with my clients is really go back to the subconscious programming and see what's showing up. Because what happens is, in our day-to-day lives, when we are triggered, so whether, if you're in a relationship and let's say you're having an argument and it touches upon your core wounding, that's what I call it, like your core wound from your subconscious, then you're going to get triggered. And as soon as you are triggered, it's not you, the adult, that is showing up to the fight. It's you, the child, that is now running the show. And so our subconscious plays such a huge role. And even to the point, like, that's usually what's running the show 80% of the time, unless people are really tuned into their bodies and listening. They say it's about 66,000 thoughts a day that are from the subconscious. And our subconscious is just there to, it's like a defense mechanism. It kind of helps us. It makes us, it's created to help us feel safe in our lives. So it pops up a lot, it takes over a lot, is I guess a good way to say it. So it's really important to get in touch with that component and heal it and work on it. And I'm not saying it healing like you're broken, but just heal it and have the awareness so you can shift it. So you're not working on this like outdated belief system. It's kind of an outdated program, so that's why it's so important.
Okay. So, and you're doing that through talking it through or intuitive work, combination of that plus the healing?
Yes. So my intuition allows me to kind of see the age and start talking about a situation. And I just kind of tune in and I bring my client to that situation in their mind. Like, I ask them questions about it because I'll pick up the information and we'll start talking about it. And then their awareness comes up because they may not have any experience with the subconscious and the fact that, that time in our lives. So they start to remember, and it's not just a process of me telling them, it's really about them reliving the memory. And I actually take them through a guided meditation to help them feel it, because that's part of the healing process. And kind of clear the energy and really figure out a way, because this is the important part, in the present, to find a strategic way to deal with whatever that self-limiting thought was. So changing the behavior in some sense so that they don't keep falling back into the same pattern, because the energy is going to be shifted for sure, but there's still a little bit of the mind that has to kind of wrap around that whole concept to move forward. So yeah, so it's a process, and it's usually when I coach clients and I work with them for a certain amount of time, like that's always takes up like at least one session of like deep subconscious work, and sometimes more depending on what was going on. But that in itself creates huge transformation.
Right, because,
energy.
Yeah, because then you're not acting on old patterns. So it sounds like what you're saying, Dawn, is the subconscious causes us to, whenever we're acting on automatic, which are those patterns and triggers, we're triggered and then we automatic, stimulus response, and we go straight to whatever's automatic. We're in that underlying, that subconscious without realizing it.
Yes. We're in that triggered state. I call it triggered, but we're triggered, and then before we know it, we're going back to beliefs that really don't even make sense to us as an adult.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing, is once you identify it, you can talk yourself through it and go, oh my gosh, this doesn't even make sense, but it doesn't change the way you feel inside. And that's why going back to the memory and really feeling it, releasing it, shifting some of it really helps. It really helps.
Okay, and then the other thing you mentioned, which I wanted to go back to, was that even if you had an amazing childhood, and let's face it, a lot of us did struggle with growing up and, had some painful moments, but even if everything was great or seemed great, you still are picking up beliefs and things that aren't serving you as an adult. Is that true?
Yeah, Marcy, even if you had an ideal childhood, it doesn't matter, because children are just perceiving energy. They cannot rationalize things. So even if it was just something as simple as your mom always telling you, like I said earlier, to not, whenever you cry, like, don't cry, don't do this, that just creates this feeling of, okay, I don't know what that means for my mom, but I'm sensing her energy. She seems irritated and she seems upset with me. I should not cry anymore. I'm going to stop myself from doing that as much as I can, because I don't want to disappoint or hurt my mom. Mm-hmm. So even as children, they kind of just, we develop these beliefs. I mean, I have a 4-year-old and an 18-month-old, and I can see it with them, how they create, because they don't know how to rationalize. So yeah, it doesn't matter if it was a very traumatic experience or something just like what I described, you still can pick up wounding, a core wound. And actually wounds where, for instance, I just worked with somebody yesterday, and it was just about like not feeling like they were seen in their life, because they were always told not to with their emotions, to not be too much, not to cry too much, and not to be happy too much. It was both ends of the spectrum. And so her whole life, she's been very buttoned up and always done things according to what her family expected of her. And so you could see something as simple as that, which it just doesn't seem like, as an adult, we can rationalize that.
Yeah.
But as a child, it just creates this whole belief system, and it rules the way you live your life until you have awareness over it. And then when you have sovereignty over it, like when you decide, no, I don't want to live like that. That doesn't make sense to me. That's not who I am. That's when we can create change. And that's why those meditations and going back and seeing those things are so vital.
Mm. So that's really great to recognize that there's something potentially going on for all of us that are affecting us as adults, and creating that awareness is super important. This brings up actually another point, which I didn't anticipate we were going to go there today, but that's how these sessions go, about parenting, and perhaps the judgment, that parents place on themselves in terms of, well, I need to not instill those things in my children, the beliefs that they're going to carry into their adulthood. And what I believe is that we get, we're here incarnate in physical body to get, the lessons that we need to learn so that we can evolve, because those painful experiences are actually really important. And what would you say? I mean, you're a mom, you have 2 young girls. So what would you say to parents out there around this?
I think it's so important to be leaders and guides to your children. I don't think it's about imposing on them your belief system. It's showing them to really, different opportunities in life, different types of energy, let them feel. I mean, that's the biggest thing that I've seen. And I know I've been told even by, I've had conversations with other intuitive healers. And I said, oh my God, I don't want to screw my children up, by something I'm doing when they're this age. And the thing is like you were saying, like they incarnate to this life and there's a certain soul contract that they're on, a certain things that they're supposed to learn. And I'm probably part of that process. And so is my husband. So I
Definitely.
can't, it's not about like, parenting with like white, gloves on or something like that. It's really just, to me, allowing them to be who they are and not telling them how to necessarily be. Of course, there has to be discipline. But even down to like igniting their gifts, I think it's really important. One of the things I taught both my 4-year-old right now, but my 4-year-old knows how to do healings. She knows the power of her physical body. And whenever she hurts herself, I always remind her your physical body is so strong. Whatever you need to heal right now, just send energy to that part of your body. And she does healings on other people. She just innately just picks it up. And then also I've taught her about her intuition. So it's endless. The possibilities are so endless when you decide to just come from a place of really being in flow and being present with your kids. And they, to me, are the best teachers I've ever had.
Right. And then also, as you allow yourself to feel the feelings as they come up, as you get quiet and still, as you practice awareness and all these things we're talking about, the kids will pick that up because role modeling is the main thing they're learning.
Yes, it's huge. I mean, like we were just saying about energy, they feel energy. And if for some reason, I've noticed as a mom, if I'm short fused that day, if I'm not feeling good and I'm dismissing myself because I have a million things going on, they start to freak out and they start to have their little tantrums and stuff. So they're feeding off me. So the more I settle and lean into who I am and allowing myself to feel and have time to myself during the day, because busy parents know that it's tough, but it's crucial. It's imperative so you can listen to your intuition so that you can heal whatever is going on in your life. And so that it kind of is osmosis. The kids will absorb that type of that learning. So yeah. Very important.
Absolutely. Thanks for going with me on that tangent into parenthood. You never know what's going to show up in these sessions.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dawn, what are the top few things that you want to leave our listeners with today before we talk about where they can find you?
I would say just knowing that everybody is extremely intuitive. It's not some gift that only a few people have. That if you really want to start tapping into it, like I said, create time for it and have maybe a ritual that you do every morning where you set an intention that you're going to ask your higher self, which I believe is, your soul, to come through and be with you through the day and notice your intuitive hits. And I always tell people if they're really starting to work with their intuition, not only is intention setting important to have your higher self come through, but meditation, 10 minutes of meditation, and then having an intuition journal. For your prophetic dreams that you may receive, or just through the hits that you get throughout the day that are going to be able to kind of guide and help you. And so that is a way to record it, and then you can go back and go, oh my gosh, yeah, I got that hit. And the important thing is to start acting on your guidance. People get the information as this kind of subtle way. It's a thought. It's not like a big loud, thought that comes through. It's very subtle. Intuition is subtle. And instead of trusting it, they kind of dismiss it. So the key is to not only trust it, but to act on it. Like if there's an action, stop with it. And then you will start to see that you're living in flow. I really believe that intuition is so connected to the universe, to the divine. And the more that we listen, the more that we see our lives unfold in the most beautiful ways. So those are just a few tips on how to really connect to it on a daily basis.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One of my friends always says feather brick truck, which means that, first you get this subtle little tinge, and if you don't pay attention to that, you get the brick through the window, and otherwise the Mack truck hits you.
I like that. That's a good way to say it. Yeah. That's awesome.
Until you finally get the message. Also, one thing that I'm still working with, and you've helped me a lot with, is trust. Trust is a huge component of everything we're talking about. How can people start to utilize that more?
I think with trust, it's really about loving yourself, right? I mean, it's hard to trust yourself if you don't love yourself. So the key is to have a very, nice self-love practice. And to me, that starts with acceptance, and it's about not living in the past. It's just knowing that you did the best that you could at that time in your life. And that's how you really cultivate acceptance. And then when you're in a state of acceptance, you see everything as kind of a learning process and a flow. So then you can really step into who you are. Love yourself and trust yourself. And trust is a daily thing. I think even loving yourself is not something like one day you just wake up and it's like, I love myself. It's kind of a continual, process. It really is, because there's so much that goes in our brain of like negative self-talk sometimes. But the more that you open up to it, then you see, and it's almost like life becomes more of a gift, because that intuition is guiding you to the next thing, the next conversation, the next beautiful relationship, the next career opportunity, or whatever it may be. And it becomes more easy and in flow.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to say that happiness is a choice you make again and again, and also loving yourself, the choice to love yourself and to do loving things for yourself, is a choice that we get to make again and again. For me, I also believe, and I've seen in my life, that my trust is strengthened when I keep my word. When I say I'm going to do something, whether I'm keeping my word to myself or to my dog, if I say I'm going to, take him outside or do whatever with him, and with other people, of course. So keeping your word allows yourself to be able to trust, and your body to trust you. If you say, I'm going to go exercise today, or I'm going to go outside and get some nature, that you actually do it. And of course, there circumstances come up, but most of the time you're following through.
Yes, I agree. I always refer back to the 4 agreements. I think by Don Miguel Ruiz. Yeah. And if you be intentional, do what you say you're going to do. Yeah. I think that's so important always. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's taking the action. It's taking action.
Yeah. Okay, so is there anything else that you wanted to touch on in this conversation, Dawn?
Just that everybody, if there's, I want everybody to know that not only they are intuitive, but they can heal. So if you are suffering from something, if you haven't, whether it's something just like an ailment, or if it's something even more extreme, that by starting to look at your emotions, you can start to uncover and unpack what's really going on. And knowing that your body is your friend, it's not your enemy. So many people, when they're sick or when they're suffering from a disease, they tend to start thinking of their body as something separate from themselves. And we are here on this planet to be in these bodies and to befriend these bodies and love these bodies. And the more that you do so, the more that you can really work with your emotions and then start to see healing. Because yes, I completely believe in Western medicine and it's, different modalities and all that. But I also believe in meditation and really mastering our mindset and our beliefs to create healing. So just know that if you're willing to go down and look at your emotions, you can really heal in ways that you probably couldn't even imagine.
It's so powerful. Thank you. And thank you for bringing up befriending your body. I love that. It's true. When you're an enemy with yourself or your body, the self-talk is reflecting that, then it stops the healing process. So that's really powerful. So Dawn, tell everyone about your free gift. You have something for everyone who's here with us today.
Yes, if you visit my website, which is Live in Your Light, I have an e-guide that is for living intuitively, and basically it gives you the guide on how to start working with your energy, how to tap into your intuition, and how to work with manifesting so you can really master your reality. So it's a great, easy read with very simple tools that are very effective that can change your life immediately.
Okay, great. So just follow the link that I'm providing for you and grab your Living Intuitively guide from Dawn Elle. And Dawn, thank you so much for being here at the Cutting Edge Convention.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
And to everyone who has joined us here today, I really appreciate you. Thank you for being part of my community. Have a happy, healthy day. And I'm Marcy Peters, the Age Backward Mentor. I will see you again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for being part of the Cutting Edge Convention. We don't want you to miss a single valuable session. To have the entire event available to you at any time, purchase the package now before the event ends. That's when the price goes up. And watch your emails to get your next steps from Marcy.